Hey guys, so in this video I want to give you 10 tips on how to write a philosophy paper. I know like myself, many of you study philosophy in college, but also a lot of you study it for fun. Nevertheless, these 10 tips will help you write a philosophy paper, whether it's for fun or whether it's for college. So tip number one, your paper should have a clear thesis statement, and you should present specific reasons why you believe this thesis. In your paper, there should not be opinions. Your job is rather to make good arguments for your position. Arguments, not opinions. Tip number two, in your paper, the reader should know very quickly exactly what it is that you are trying to assert. You should be concise in what you are saying, not rambling on and on about everything you know about this certain topic. Tip number three, try not to use big words that you know your reader would not understand. This comes off as seriously disingenuous at times. In fact, to avoid this, pretend your reader is completely ignorant of philosophy, knows nothing about philosophy, and even knows nothing about the topic you are discussing at hand. Tip number four, always use examples in your paper. Oftentimes, the claims that philosophers make are very abstract and counterintuitive for most. Tip number five, when defending or refuting arguments, go through the premises and unpack them one by one. See if they are valid, which means if they logically follow, the premises entail the conclusion. See if the argument is sound, which means all the premises are true and valid. And explain this in your own words. Do not just move past arguments, always unpack them. Tip number six, use connective words. So you could say things like therefore, thus, given the argument, however, it follows that, and so on. This is going to give your paper flow and make it easier for the reader to follow. Tip number seven, be able to clearly tell the reader what you are going to say next. To do this, you could say things like, for example, I will now defend this claim. Further support for my claim comes from so-and-so. I will begin by refuting this claim, and so on. Tip number eight, always criticize your arguments. Come up with the strongest objections towards your position. This is so important. And when you come up with these objections towards your position, you could say something like, however, this objection still fails, and here is why, and then you explain why. Tip number nine, although you can quote here and there, you should paraphrase instead. Philosophy papers are about you pushing the argument forward in some novel fashion. So do not just quote all the way through your paper, right? And if you do decide to paraphrase, be sure to cite the author and the page number, of course. And tip number 10, this is sort of similar with number 8, but always be thinking of anticipating objections towards your argument. This will not only mold you into more of a critical thinker, but it is going to really make a difference in your paper. So if your paper has no objections towards your position, it's not going to be much of a philosophy paper at all. It's not going to be a strong paper either. You always need to have objections to your position. This will make your paper stronger. So these are just some 10 short tips, guys, and I hope you use these to your advantage. Thanks.